Hello all students, let's revise regarding post-maturity. So post-maturity, from the word itself, it is there, it is extension of maturation period. That is, pregnancy, if it is extending beyond 2 weeks after the expected date of delivery, that is termed as post maturity. Okay, so post maturity means if the pregnancy is continuing beyond 2 weeks of expected date of delivery, it is termed as post maturity, and it is also known as post term pregnancy. If you see the incidence, it is varying from about 2 to 10% of all pregnancies. There is a case of one post-term pregnancy. The etiological factors, it includes hereditary factors. Okay, so either from the maternal or the paternal side of the mother, if there is any post-term cases was there in any previous generations, there is a chance of having a post-term delivery. High standards of living, that is, see, sometimes we will be opting for the cesarean section because of that, or if there is because of less exercises, there is a chance of having the post-maturity. Then anencephaly, that is one of the congenital malformations. In case of elderly primigravida or elderly multipara, so elderly primigravida means all the mothers, those who are getting pregnant after 35 years of age, there is a chance of post-term pregnancy. Elderly multipara, after 35 years of age, again she is getting pregnant, there is a chance of having the post-term pregnancy. So etiology, it includes hereditary, high standards of living, anencephaly, and elderly primigravida or elderly multipara. How we can able to diagnose this case? From the menstrual history. Okay, so when we are collecting the history related to the last menstrual period, then we will be calculating the EDD, and we can able to find out that whether it is a case of post-term pregnancy or not from the menstrual history. It is nothing but we are just calculating the EDD with the help of the Nigel's rule. So Nigel's rule is first day of the EDD is equal to first day of the last menstrual period plus 9 months plus 7 days. So when we are calculating the EDD with the help of the Nigel's rule, with the help of the menstrual history, we can able to find out that whether it is a case of post-term pregnancy or not. Next one, clinical findings. Weight loss. The mother's weight will be reducing. Next is girth of the abdomen. Abdominal girth will start to decrease because of the decrease in the liquor amni. So once the abdominal girth is diminishing after the expected date of delivery, then we can able to suspect the case for the post-term pregnancy. History of false pain. So usually the mother will be having false pain, but it will be subsiding after some time and the pregnancy will be continuing. The pain will not have the intensity, increase in intensity. It will be the pain, it will be there for some time and then it will be subsiding and the pregnancy will be continuing after the gestational, after the expected date of delivery. Then obstetrical palpation, when the palpation is done, we can able to see or we can able to feel a fullness of fetus in the uterus. How it is felt? Whenever the liquor amni is diminishing, whenever the amniotic fluid starts decreasing, then we will feel or the mother will be feeling that the uterus is full of fetus. Why it is happening? Because of the decrease in the amniotic fluid. And when the vaginal examination is done, the cervix will be a ripened cervix. We can able to find out that the cervix is a ripened cervix. That is, it will be admitting the fingers or sometimes it will be dilated to 1 centimeter. Okay, so from these all diagnostic measures, we can able to find out that whether it is a post-term pregnancy. Next one, ultrasonography. When the USG scan is taken, the crown rump length of the baby is measured. So what is crown rump length? The length of the baby from the head, from the highest point of the head till the buttocks is known as crown rump length. So we have to measure the crown rump length, and in case of postpartum pregnancy, it will be increased one. Then BPD, the bipolar diameter, the biparietal diameter, it will be increased if it is a case of postpartum pregnancy. So biparietal diameter, it is the distance between the two parietal eminence. So the distance between the two parietal eminence, that will also be increased in case of the postpartum pregnancy. The femoral length, that is the length of the femoral bone of the baby, that is also measured with the help of the ultrasonography. The length of the femoral bone will be increased in case of the postpartum pregnancy. Once the baby is delivered, once the baby comes out, what are all the measures, or what are all the diagnostic evaluation methods? When we observe the baby, the weight of the baby will be more than 4 kg. The length is 54 centimeter. Baby will be looking thin and old because the skin will be wrinkled. Because of that, the wrinkling of the skin will be giving the look of a old man. Then absence of vernix caseosa. Head will be hard. The head bones, it will be hard, and we can able to see that the nails are protruding out of the nail beds. So from these all, we can able to understand that the baby is a postpartum baby. Okay, so the weight of the baby, it will be more than 4 kg. Length is 54 centimeter. Baby looks thin and old. Absence of vernix caseosa. Head is hard and nails are protruding out of the nail beds. When we observe the amniotic fluid, scanty amniotic fluid, that is decreased amount of amniotic fluid, and sometimes it will be meconium stain, that is baby will be passing the stool inside the womb, so the amniotic fluid will be meconium stained. If we observe the placenta, we can able to see aging of placenta. How the aging is confirmed? Because with the help of the excessive calcification, we can able to see more deposits of calcium salts over the placenta. So whenever there is more deposit of calcium salt over the placenta, it indicates the aging of placenta. When we observe the cord, we can able to find out diminished quantity of Watson's jelly. So Watson's jelly, it is the protective jelly. It is the protective substance, gelatin substance, which is protecting the blood vessels inside the cord. And when we observe the cord, we can able to find out there is a diminished amount of Wharton's jelly inside the cord. So these all are the diagnostic measures by which we can able to find out whether the pregnancy is a postpartum pregnancy. So what are all the diagnostic measures? By calculating the EDD with the help of the Nigel's rule, by using the menstrual history, we will be finding out whether it is a postpartum pregnancy. Clinical findings, that is with the weight loss by measuring the abdominal girth, taking the history of the false pain, by doing the obstetric palpation, and by doing the vaginal examination. So abdominal girth, it will be decreasing. The mother may have the false pain, but pregnancy will be continuing. Palpation, the uterus will have the fullness of the fetus, or we can able to feel the fullness of fetus in the uterus, and cervix will be admitting the fingers in internal examination. Ultrasonography, when we are doing, the crown rump length, biparietal diameter, and the femoral length is increased. Once the baby is born, with the help of the observation of the baby, by observing the amniotic fluid, placenta, and cord, we can able to find out that whether the case is a post-maturity or not. Coming to the complications. So the fetal complications during the pregnancy includes fetal hypoxia. Once the placenta starts aging, so whenever there is an aging of placenta, the placental insufficiency will be there. That is, blood flow towards the placenta is not adequate, so the fetal may have decrease in the oxygen level. That is fetal hypoxia. Fetal distress, the baby may have the distress. During the labor, again, the baby may have the hypoxia. In some cases, meconium can be aspirated because whenever the baby is under the stress inside the womb, he will be passing the meconium and that can be aspirated. Cord compression is there. Sometimes because of the length of the length of the baby is more. So because of that, there is a chance of shoulder dystocia and trauma. Usually there is no risk towards the mother. How we can able to manage the case? So if it is an uncomplicated case, so uncomplicated means without any complications, that is without any medical or other complications. If it is an uncomplicated case, in some cases we are allowing the pregnancy to continue till the onset of labor and we can do the induction. Otherwise, the routine induction will be done within the 7 to 10 days. If the cervix is favorable, directly the induction can be done by the low rupture of membranes. Okay. And if when the low rupture of the membranes is done and if the liquor is clear, oxytocin can be infused. But if the liquor is meconium stained, we should pose the mother for the cesarean section because the baby was already under the stress, so that only it has passed the meconium. So we cannot wait for no longer time period. So the mother has to pose for the cesarean section. If the cervix is unfavorable, vaginal administration of PGE2 gel, that is PGE2 gel, can be applied for the cervical ripening and low rupture of membrane can be done. Again, if it is, if the liquor is clear, oxytocin infusion is done. If the liquor is meconium stained, then the mother should be posted for the LSES. This is in case of uncomplicated cases. So uncomplicated cases, sometimes we are allowing the pregnancy to continue and we are waiting for the normal labor pain to start, or we are waiting for the onset of the labor. But in other cases, we are doing the routine induction, that is extension of 7 to 10 days will be there. After that, if the cervix is favorable, directly inducing the labor by the low rupture of the membranes. And if the cervix is not favorable, we are administering PGE2 gel for the cervical ripening, and then the low rupture of the membranes is done. And in both the cases, once when the LRM is done and if the liquor is clear, oxytocin infusion is done. But if it is meconium stained, the mother will be posted for the cesarean section. And if it is a complicated case, such as if there is a if the mother's pelvis is a contracted pelvis, if she is an elderly primigravida, or in case of malpresentations, we are directly posting the mother for the cesarean section. So in this session, we have seen regarding the post-maturity. So post-maturity means continuation of pregnancy beyond 2 weeks after the expected date of delivery. That is known as post-maturity. And that will be because of many reasons. Either it is because of the maternal reasons or because of the fetal reasons. And we can able to manage the case by dividing it into or by grouping it into a complicated case or in an uncomplicated case. So that's all for this session. Thank you, students.